Ladies and gentlemen, as every single day goes by until the NBA draft occurs equals another more anticipating day about who we will get with that fourth pick of the Chicago Bulls. Now, of course, I've talked about a lot of potential candidates that could join the Chicago Bulls, and now it's time to make separate videos on what I think certain players can achieve if they do join the Chicago Bulls in the NBA draft. I've talked about Denny. He seems to be the prime target, but alongside that, there is another target that a lot of Chicago Bulls fans are really enticed by, and his name is Obi Toppin. So without further ado, let's talk about him right now. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be an Obi Toppin to the Chicago Bulls related video in the NBA draft. I'm going to talk about the potential of what Obi Toppin could bring if he decides to come to Chicago Bulls, or if we decide to get that fourth pick and use it on him and bring him into the Chicago Bulls. Now, before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below, would you take Obi Toppin with the fourth pick of the NBA draft? There are very good qualities that Obi Toppin does have with the Chicago Bulls, and there's also potential risks. And something that is really concerning is that what will Arturius decide to do with that fourth pick in terms of, is he willing to take a risk to get a player that might be a little bit older but could make an impact right now, compared to going after a player that could be younger, 4 years even younger, going after an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and actually see where we could develop if given the time. It's going to be very interesting where he goes, which direction will Arturius decide to face, and where will our future lie. And let's talk about Obi Toppin as a potential future player for the Chicago Bulls. Now, I've asked this for every single question for all these videos. Would I take Obi Toppin with the fourth pick of the NBA draft? Ultimately, I would say yes, I would take Obi Toppin with the fourth pick of the NBA draft. But he's not, for me, someone that I consider a top target for the Chicago Bulls. Of course, if we take him, happiness all around. But there are risks and there are some clarifications that we need to discuss before saying I fully accept the responsibility of Obi Toppin with the Chicago Bulls. Let's talk about the positives that in this game, because there are a lot of positives. So, he's out of the University of Dayton. I believe last season in college, he averaged 20 points and 7 rebounds. He averaged a block per game, and I believe he averaged a steal per game. Very impressive stats. He's also a player that's considered a power forward, but could potentially play the small forward position. Now, that could do very well for us, because in the end, if Thaddeus Young does end up leaving the Chicago Bulls, or if we are looking for him as a small forward position, him being able to do both, or at least being able to attempt both, maybe guard both, then he would be a very good asset for us. Because in the end, I have no troubles with what he brings offensively or defensively. The problem is the position, because we do have players in the power forward position, and in the end, are we looking to add to a position that's already filled by a bunch of players? And I don't know where the Chicago Bulls are going to do that or not. So the only way that I see Obi Toppin ever working for us is if we had to get rid of a player. And in my opinion, Obi Toppin equals Thaddeus Young will not be a Chicago Bull next season. And a lot of people will be very ecstatic by that. And if the Bulls go into that direction, I will back them. I will support them. We've got rid of a player that doesn't necessarily want to be here with a player that will want to be here, and a player that probably believes that the future of the Chicago Bulls is very bright. Obviously, this guy's an athletic beast as well. This guy, if you're looking at his qualities, the guy is a monster athletic player. He can dunk the ball, he can slash, he does have the potential to shoot. He's overall a physical specimen, and he is going to be extremely hard to guard in the NBA, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, with the amount of shooters that the Chicago Bulls have, in my opinion, Obi Toppin would work best for the Chicago Bulls, just because we have shooters all around the court. And when shooters are all around the court, the lanes into the paint are wide open for a player like Obi Toppin to go and do his thing. Maybe to even go and catch lobs, or to go and slash the ball, cut the ball, drive, grab the ball and run, the quick first step. All these things will make Obi Toppin a very successful player for the Chicago Bulls. Plus, if he does get the ability to shoot consistently at 3, then oh my goodness, we've got the perfect offensive player for the Chicago Bulls. But in the end, the weaknesses of Obi Toppin. I think the main weakness and the main risk is his age. This man is 22 years of age. Coming into the NBA draft, he is a lot older than a lot of the top prospects within within college and within other leagues around the world. Entering the NBA at 22, it's almost like you need to be good enough now compared to we could develop you, because in the end he's not going to have the same development time in the NBA as the likes of a LaMelo Ball, as the likes of a Denny, as the likes of pretty much an Anthony Edwards or a James Wiseman. Like, these players are 19-year-olds, and we've lost 3 years of Obi Toppin in the NBA pretty much since he was eligible. So it's tough. It's tough to say with full flying colors I would take Obi Toppin with the Chicago Bulls. But obviously that's the biggest weakness of his game. And if that is the biggest weakness of his game, that just shows that this guy is a very good player. If the only thing that's holding me back is that his age is 22 years old and other people's age is 19, if this guy comes in and impacts now and maybe wins Rookie of the Year, then all of that slips away. His age won't be a problem, because if anything, if he is ready to contribute now, and most players that have spent more than 1 year in college are physically more ready to play in the NBA than those who are not. I think that's statistically proven. And maybe the exceptions of Ja Morant and Zion, because they're just freakishly talented. But most of the time, an older player that comes into the NBA is most likely ready to contribute, especially when you're entering the draft. When you have 4 years of college, you have 4 years of experience, 4 years of teachings, 4 years of actually getting time to develop instead of focusing solely on winning something. And that's what college is designed to do. And the University of Dayton is that was their aim for Obi Toppin. And now he comes into the NBA with 2 years of college in his belt. The first year he averaged 16. The second year he averaged 20. He's made improvements, and the Chicago Bulls are going to need a player that can do everything for them. Obi Toppin can do everything. Now, I'm not really sure he's a playmaking type player. That's where I see Artorias really gravitating towards, that guy that can make the extra pass, the guy that can make the right play at the right times. I'm not sure if Obi Toppin is that type of player. I'm not sure if he's the type of player where if you give him the ball, he's going to make a play. I do see him being a very dominant force. I do see him being able to bully other players into the paint and maybe get his shot off within the paint. I don't see him being that player that will make the extra pass or that will make a fantastic play that results in a very good pass to an open man. I don't see him being that type of player, at least from the get-go, at least from the beginning. But as with every NBA draft prospect, all that is needed is time and development, and if we have proper development coaches like Artorias and everyone is saying that we need, if we go for proper player development coaches, we can develop Obi Toppin into a real sensational player coming into his prime years. And to be honest, at the 4th pick, I definitely think he's very, very high up there for a lot of teams. He's definitely going top 10. He's probably going to go within the top 6. So the Chicago Bulls are well in their rights to consider Obi Toppin as a potential player for the Chicago Bulls. And not only that, a lot of you guys like him as well. Just because Denny is the main target, in my opinion, for the Chicago Bulls, doesn't mean there are other players out there that we don't like. A lot of people do like LaMelo Ball. A lot of people do like Obi Toppin. Even Killian Hayes is something that's strongly being mentioned with the Chicago Bulls. In the end, we need to find something that fits us. And does Obi Toppin fit us? To be honest, not particularly, but there are changes that can make Obi Toppin fit us. And if the Chicago Bulls are willing to take a chance on someone that might not be the position that we want, or maybe we'll be playing out of position for a majority of the first season, then I say, why not? Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Now, of course, he's not my first choice. He's not my second choice. But he's probably my third. And the Chicago Bulls do have a lot of options here. We're not going to get Wiseman. And I don't think we're going to get Edwards either. I think those two are locked for the first 2. Maybe Denny goes to the Golden State Warriors, and then Wiseman will go to the Hornets. But I do think if one doesn't happen, the other one will. So the Chicago Bulls are in prime position to get a player that could have potentially went within the top 4, top 3, at the 4th pick, because there are players that have been linked to the 1st spot that are really good. So this is going to be a player that's going to at least keep my eyes open for. Don't be surprised if we get Obi Toppin in the NBA draft. Don't be surprised if we go after this risk, even if it is just for his age, even if it is just because he won't have that much more development left in him than compared to a 19-year-old. He does, and he can still develop. The problem is if he's ready now or not. And I do think by his stats and by his demeanor, by his body, he looks ready now. And let's see if he can contribute no matter where he goes. If he is a Chicago Bull, we're all going to be happy and back the player. And let's see what he can do for us. How much damage can he create? That's going to be the end of this video. I've given you my opinion on Obi Toppin as a top prospect for the Chicago Bulls, the strengths and the weaknesses of the player. Would I take him and the risk involved of taking him? There's a lot with Obi Toppin that you might not even need to discuss with other players. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. If he's more ready now than those players and he has room to grow, then he's one of the better targets in the NBA draft. Or if there is potential risks, then it's up to the Bulls to accept that risk or don't bother going for it. In the end, man, Obi Toppin is a great player. I have seen a lot of him, probably more than I've seen of any other player except for LaMelo, because he is a player that excites me. He excites me. He's a very exciting player, and I'd be happy with him. I would be very happy with Obi Toppin. And that's the best thing about having the 4th pick, is that there are so many players that the Chicago Bulls would be happy with. If we got a lower pick, some of these players could even go down. And that's where the excitement of being in a high position counts, because we will get the player that we want to get. And it's just up to Arturius to see which player does he want? Which player does the Bulls want? And we will probably get that player. That's the most exciting thing. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful day. If you have any other NBA draft prospects that you'd like me to talk about, I do plan on making a LaMelo Ball video with the Chicago Bulls, because I haven't actually made one solely about him. I do plan to make a video potentially on Killian Hayes, or maybe any other player that might be linked with the Chicago Bulls for the 4th pick, or even below that could end up doing a job with the 4th pick. Have a wonderful day. Take care and peace.